Hi, back for the second part of the video. Okay, I wanted to talk about that female heir that we find mentioned in Micah 5:1, and it is a female heir. And the number, it's 5:1 and 2. Okay, I said 5:1. It's not 5:1. She's actually, the word I'm going to look at is actually found in verse 2 of chapter 5 of Micah. So let's go there. I had it open, but my phone rang. So sorry, folks. You didn't hear that. You didn't see that. Anyway, so Micah 5:1 says this. It says, "Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops." I was talking about Zion. She, he, okay, the horror spirit, fallen Adam, have laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. Now this is the verse we're going to look at, the word that's in there. "But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah," I'm not sure how to say that, "though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall," it says she come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, who's going forth. That's the word we're going to look at there. And though it's more than one word, it's a phrase, it's one word there. "Whose goings forth have been from old, from everlasting." So it's saying her origins is from the beginning, the very beginning. This descendant, that's the word we're going to look at. And the number there is 4163. Now, this is what I couldn't figure out about this word, because it has two meanings. All right? So it's Hebrew number 4163. It means going forth. It also means a drought house going forth. It's a feminine noun, and it means a family descendant and also a sewer. So it's looking at a female descendant. It's a feminine noun. It's a female descendant. When it says birth, typically it means a father. Begat. So we know we're looking at a totally different word here. And it's feminine of the word matzah, a family descendant. Now, I couldn't understand the correlation of, okay, we got a female descendant in view, but this word also means a drought house. And I couldn't understand the correlation until I began to look at the image of Baal. And then I totally understood it. Because Baal, when you look that up, and what the Jews, what the Hebrews used to call this god, they used to refer to this god, Baal, B-A-A-L, as the Lord of Flies. That was one of that Baal's mocking title that the Jews would refer to. And the idea was that Baal is a pile of dung, and those that flock to him and worship him are the flies. And so that's why Baal was referred to in this manner. Okay? So it began to start to clear up to me when I began to realize when they talk about the legend of the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Well, if we look at current theology as taught to us by that image of Baal, and it is the image of Baal that we're actually looking at, we understand where Baal actually derives from when we get looking at the scriptures. And Mother says, "You forgot my name for Baal." We find that in Jeremiah 23. She says, "I told you who Baal was. You forgot who I told you Baal was." But when we get looking at Esther, the book of Esther, and the king decrees this decree, "You will bow down to your husband as Lord and Master." When you look the word up there for your husband, it is the word Baal, B-A-A-L. Now, that's Hebrew number 1167. But when you look at the word Baal as in terms of the God image Baal, B-A-A-L, the capital B, it says in the beginning, its origin just meant Lord, right? So here in Esther, we were told to bow down to our husbands as if he's our Lord and our Master. And so now I began to understand the correlation here. It's actually a correlation that the daughter Zion, and she's one, we discussed this in the last, she's the branch that's going to come forth, she's the spirit, Christ's spirit, she's going to have to be born out of this fallen body. Christ gave us a second option, a new body. But that new body, mother provided that body. So what she's looking for now is for the reborn spirit. And the daughter Zion, it says, has travailed, and we have not wrought a deliverance in the earth. Now, when I look at the woman's pain in delivery of children, I see in that the spirit travailing to bring forth the spirit, her daughter, reborn out from under all of this fallen theology, all of this lie out of this body that mother says she's going to spread like dung. All right? She says, we're birthing the newborn spirit out of the ashes of this body, which is likened to dung in the Bible. So now it begins to make sense. She has to be pretty darn special to come out from under all of this fallen theology and still be able to see the truth. And that's why she's considered pure in her own right. All right? That's why in Song of Songs, she's called the choice one of her mother, of the Spirit. They're working on many of us daughters to see the truth, the Spirit is. But there's going to be one that's called the choice branch, the servant. And that's out of that group in Zechariah 3, which are called your first fruits. And Romans 11 says, if the rejecting of them or the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? All right. So we looked at that. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to look at. And this you're going to find in Isaiah 22:24. And I could not understand these two verses. So Isaiah 22:24 says this, and they shall hang upon him, that's Christ, who is the new Adam, the new heir to everything, all the glory of his father's house. I think it's mother's house, but we're not going to argue about it. The offspring and the issue, all vessels of small quantity, from the vessels of cups even to all the vessels of the flagons. All right. Now in that we see Christ, don't we? We definitely see Christ. But it was this verse that threw me for a loop for a while, until I understood the allegory in its correct context and without the fallen theology interpretation. So Isaiah 22:25, in that day declares the Lord of hosts, the peg driven into a firm place. All right? Think of Christ nailed to the cross. Think of the tabernacle in the desert, nailed to a firm place. This is a pit will give way. All right? It's going to give way. It will be sheared off. The peg that's holding this weight in place is going to be sheared off and will fall. And the load hanging upon it will be cut down. The Lord has spoken it. So what is that an allusion to? Well, if you look at what we've been looking at, first, second, third heaven, and the second heaven is the midst of the body, and what took up possession in the midst of the body, the Holy of Holies in a sense, was the Holy Spirit that man came to exalt on the earth, who makes him a godlike entity amongst us. He's the male image is the God image, that's what we're told, and that there's no she in that image. What are we looking at here? Well, we're actually looking at the death of first Adam, of the fallen Adam. That's what we're looking at. And him being sheared off is that death, right? That's what we're being shown. That death of fallen Adam. And Lucifer being kicked out of second heaven. Now, if we look at the spirit that comes out from underneath all of this fallen theology and being resurrected out of this dead body, which mother actually says, I'm going to spread like dung on the open fields. You can consider it ash. You can consider it dung. And the theology is based on what the image of Baal has taught us. That spirit comes out, and what does she do? She resurrects the body because of the truth that is found within this righteous spirit. And this is what the spirit has been travailing to bring forth. Truth, a daughter. She needs to birth that in the earth. It says, I can't remember the passage. Actually, I do think it's Isaiah. It's either Isaiah 26 or it's Isaiah 46. But she says, we have not wrought any deliverance in the earth. We have failed to bring forth deliverance. And it says they're still standing. The habitation is still standing. Let's look for it. Isaiah. Let's look in 46 first. See if we can locate this verse pretty quick. Nope, it's definitely not 46. So maybe it is 26. Let's just see here if we can find it. Nope, it's not in 26 either. But it speaks of the daughter Zion. And she says, we have failed to wrought any deliverance in the earth. We have failed to birth truth is what we come to realize. That was in another one of my videos. But it's Zion speaking, and that's why a woman's travail is in pain, because the spirit is travailing, and she's travailing hard to bring forth a righteous spirit, a spirit that understands the truth, which is the correlation to Christ. He's the temple, he's the body. Now she's looking for the spirit of truth to birth one daughter. She's birthed the son. Now she needs to birth the daughter. And this is the covenant remade that we see that was torn apart or broken apart in the very beginning when Adam chose to make a covenant with that whore spirit. And it says, be not like Adam. Don't be like Adam. Don't deal treacherously with your spirit. You are to exalt the righteous spirit. She's what's going to bring life to this body. Not all of these man-made lies. And we discussed on the last video how, you can't defend your position of there not being a female God. You cannot defend that position. It is an indefensible position. Now, I know there's more I wanted to say on that. We do find a correlation to this verse that we just read in Isaiah 22:25. This is also another chapter that you need to study in correlation with all them other chapters I told you about. And I tend to fail to always tell you Isaiah 22, which is one of two places where the key of David is actually mentioned in scriptures. But 22:25, it says, it will give way, it will be sheared off, and will fall, and the load hanging upon it will be cut down. All right? That's an allusion to fallen Adam's death. Christ is resurrected as the second Adam, meaning Lucifer, ping, that whore spirit gets kicked out of the midst of the body, and the reborn spirit, or this daughter Zion, who is mother's choice one, in Song of Songs 6:9, brings life to the body. All right? It's all allegorical. Now what was I looking for? The verse that correlates to this is in Daniel 7. I do it every time I go back instead of forward. Daniel 7. Let's see if I can find it. Daniel 7 verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So we're going to have to argue in our defense. And the defense that's going to defend us is the truth. That's our defense. That's the only defense that we have. And it's the truth, this reborn spirit of truth, that's going to teach this to us. And we are going to be able to remove that whore spirit out of the midst of the body and resurrect the body. The heavens, it says the heavens groans as they wait for the manifestation of the sons. No, it's the daughters that gives birth to the new heavens, to the new body. So it's telling you all creation is groaning as it waits for these daughters to manifest, which are called the first fruits. Men don't birth, sorry. And you can't use a defense saying men do birth. You're holding an indefensible position on that one. The Bible tells you that. We just discussed it in the last video. So there you go. I hope to put these up together. 1, 2, they go together. Hope you watch them. Hope I was pretty straightforward on them. Hope you all have a warm day, much warmer here today. And I hope you have a blessed day from the Lord.